There is a signal that has been following you your entire life. It appears in quiet whispers, in repeated moments, and in the challenges that circle back again and again. Most people never notice it, but once you see it, everything changes. You are not living inside a random stream of events. Life is not throwing experiences at you by accident. Reality is more precise than that. It repeats itself until you awaken to what it is trying to reveal. And until you notice, you remain caught in a loop, repeating, reliving, and re-experiencing the same lesson. Think back for a moment. Have you noticed that no matter how much you try to move forward, the same challenge keeps returning in a new form? It may come as a different relationship, a different workplace, or a different struggle, but the core feels strangely familiar. That familiarity is not coincidence. It is the field of reality reflecting something you have not yet seen within yourself. Quantum physics tells us that energy cannot be destroyed, it only transforms. Your inner patterns, your beliefs, emotions, and unresolved choices are energy. When you do not resolve them, they cycle. They manifest again, reshaped, but still carrying the same signal. The universe is not punishing you. It is guiding you. It is holding up a mirror again and again until you recognize yourself clearly within it. This is why certain relationships feel like they trap you. This is why the same disappointment follows you across different seasons of life. This is why you can change jobs, cities, or even countries, and yet the inner battle remains the same. The signal does not vanish until you face it. Right now, your mind is wired to seek patterns. The human brain is built to predict and repeat, but reality itself also functions through resonance, frequencies echoing back to their source. The lesson you have not learned sends out a vibration. That vibration calls for your attention, and until you truly see it, life will echo it back, over and over, louder each time. You may already sense this. Perhaps you have thought, why does this always happen to me? That question is not a cry of frustration. It is the edge of awakening. The fact that you can even notice the repetition means you are close to seeing the truth beneath it. Here is the deeper truth. You are the common thread in every cycle. You are not the victim of repetition. You are the creator of it. This is not blame. This is power. The same awareness that recognizes the loop is the very awareness that can dissolve it. Affirm this now. I am ready to see what has always been in front of me. Say it again, because repetition of a new truth is how the old one begins to fade. I am ready to see what has always been in front of me. The more you repeat this, the more your mind accepts that you are no longer blind to the signal. Consider how even your body remembers. If you ignore stress, your body repeats it until it speaks louder through illness. If you bury grief, your heart repeats it until it erupts through breakdown. Life is generous enough to give you infinite chances to awaken, but each repetition grows sharper, urging you toward recognition. Pause here. Breathe. Reflect. What is the one challenge that keeps circling back into your life? Do not push it away. Name it. Feel it. That recognition is the first step in breaking the loop. Understand this. Reality is not against you. It is for you. Every repeated lesson is a form of love disguised as challenge. Every loop is a teacher in costume. And the moment you see the pattern clearly, the lesson no longer needs to repeat. This is the hidden signal you have been missing, the quiet message beneath the noise of everyday life. Once you see it, you will never mistake coincidence for chaos again. You will understand that every repetition was a call to awaken, to rise, to become more conscious than before. And now the question is clear. Why does life keep repeating the same lessons? To understand why these lessons keep reappearing, we need to explore the deeper science of repetition. Life has a rhythm, and that rhythm is built on cycles. Every day the sun rises and sets. Every season gives way to the next. Your heart beats in repeating pulses. Repetition is not a flaw of existence. It is the very structure of existence. And because you are part of this fabric, your life follows the same principle. When something within you remains unresolved, it repeats until it finds completion. This is why lessons return. They are not random, they are purposeful. Life is not trying to frustrate you, it is trying to wake you up. When you ignore a truth, life replays it, like a song on loop, waiting for you to finally hear the note you missed. Think about it. Have you noticed how the same kind of conflict appears in different relationships? It may come through different faces, different voices, but the feeling is identical. Or maybe your financial struggles follow you despite every new plan, every new opportunity. Even when you change the surface details, the underlying energy calls the same lesson back into your life. This is not punishment, it is feedback. Reality operates like a mirror. It reflects back what you carry inside. If you carry unworthiness, life presents situations that force you to confront that belief. If you carry unresolved anger, life places you in scenarios that ignite it again. Until you transform the inner frequency, the outer world will keep repeating the same broadcast. Here is the psychological side. Your brain is wired for familiarity. Neural pathways create grooves, and your mind prefers what it already knows, even if what it knows is painful. This is why people repeat the same toxic relationships, the same self-sabotage, the same cycles of hope and disappointment. The mind clings to patterns because they feel safe, even when they are destructive. But here is the energetic side. Energy is magnetic. Whatever you resist does not vanish, it lingers. That energy continues to attract circumstances that match it. The lesson you avoid becomes louder, more obvious, and more unavoidable with each return. Until you see it, you are held in its orbit. Reflection is key. Think back. What challenge keeps circling back into your life? Is it abandonment, rejection, betrayal, scarcity, or self-doubt? Trace the thread. See how it wears different disguises, but always leaves the same imprint on your heart. The cycle is not there to crush you. It is there to show you what you have the power to change. Notice how children repeat the same behavior until guidance reshapes them. Life is doing the same with you. Each repeated lesson is guidance. It is the universe saying, "Look again. You have not learned what this experience came to teach." This is why you cannot escape through running. You can leave a job, end a relationship, move across the world, but if the lesson is not integrated, the pattern follows. The scenery changes, but the story does not. And until you take responsibility for the inner frequency, the outer world has no choice but to echo it. Affirm this truth now. Life is not against me. Life is repeating itself for me. Say it again. Life is not against me. Life is repeating itself for me. This affirmation begins to shift your identity from victimhood into awareness. It trains your mind to see the lesson not as cruelty, but as opportunity. Consider this. What if every repeated struggle is a signal that you are closer than you think to breakthrough? Patterns intensify right before they dissolve. A storm grows stronger before it clears. In the same way, your repeating lessons are the pressure of transformation. They are preparing you to finally break the loop. And when you understand this, frustration turns into clarity. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" You begin to ask, "What is this showing me?" That shift in question is the gateway to freedom. Imagine holding a key, but never noticing the lock it was meant to open. Repetition is the universe pointing at the lock again and again until you finally see the connection. Once you insert the key, the door opens. Once you integrate the lesson, the cycle dissolves. Pause for a moment. Reflect honestly. What is the lesson life has been repeating for you? What do you keep resisting, denying, or overlooking? The answer may not come immediately, but the very act of asking opens your awareness. Awareness is the seed of transformation. Remember, life is patient. It will repeat as long as it takes, not because you are failing, but because you are being prepared. Every repetition is a chance. Every cycle is a mirror. And the moment you learn, the moment you truly integrate, the loop no longer serves a purpose. The hidden beauty is this: when the lesson ends, you step into a higher pattern. Life does not leave you empty. It rewards you with new experiences, new clarity, new freedom. But until you learn, the cycle repeats. This is the law of growth, written into the fabric of existence. So ask yourself, what is life asking me to see that I have been refusing to see? Sit with that question. Let it echo inside you. That is where your awakening begins. The cycles are real. The patterns are undeniable. But the explanation becomes even more powerful when we bring quantum science into the picture. The answer becomes even clearer when we look at what quantum science says about cycles. Patterns in your life are not only psychological habits or emotional echoes, they are also expressions of the deeper structure of reality. Quantum mechanics, the science of the very small, reveals a truth that directly mirrors your repeating experiences. Nothing happens in isolation. Every particle, every wave, every field is part of a rhythm. And when something is unresolved, that rhythm echoes back until it finds balance. Imagine dropping a pebble into water. Waves radiate outward, bouncing back from the edges of the pool until they form repeating ripples. Your thoughts and emotions function the same way. Each signal you release into the field of reality sends out ripples. If that signal is unresolved fear, guilt, or self-doubt, the ripples keep returning. If the signal is clarity, peace, or vision, the ripples echo back with equal resonance. Quantum science calls this resonance. When two systems vibrate at compatible frequencies, they reinforce one another. Life responds to you through resonance. This is why people who feel unworthy attract situations that confirm it, while those who hold inner certainty draw experiences that reflect it. The outer world is not separate from the inner signal. They are entangled. Feedback is the natural language of the universe. Just as sound waves echo back when they hit a surface, the frequency of your inner world echoes back through the circumstances of your outer world. When the same lesson appears again, it is not coincidence. It is feedback. It is the field telling you that the signal has not changed. Until you shift the vibration, the feedback will stay the same. Let us go deeper. Quantum mechanics shows us the strange duality of particles behaving as both waves and points. Your life mirrors this. You experience events as solid and separate, yet beneath the surface they are part of flowing patterns, waves of energy interacting. When you perceive only the surface, you think life is random. When you perceive the wave beneath, you see the pattern guiding you. What if your reality is echoing back the very frequency you project? That question is not metaphor, it is physics. A laser, for example, works by aligning photons into the same frequency, creating coherence. In the same way, when your inner state is coherent, life aligns. But when your inner state is scattered, conflicted, or unresolved, the feedback loop sends back disorder. Think of the cycles in your own story. The repeating relationship struggles, the career disappointments, the financial instability. Each one is a ripple returning. The quantum field does not judge these ripples. It does not label them good or bad. It simply reflects. It gives back the same frequency you broadcast until you consciously adjust it. Affirm this now: I am the signal, and life is the echo. Repeat it: I am the signal, and life is the echo. Every time you say this, you remind your mind that cycles are not accidents. They are mirrors, and when you shift the signal, the echo must shift as well. Science confirms that energy is never lost. It transforms, but it does not disappear. This is why unintegrated lessons return. They cannot dissolve until you acknowledge them. The energy of the lesson will shapeshift into different forms: a new relationship, a new struggle, a new season. But at its core, it is the same frequency calling for your attention. Even atoms follow cycles. Electrons orbit in repeating shells, and only when they absorb energy do they jump to a new level. Your life works the same way. Until you take in the energy of awareness, you remain in the same orbit, looping the same experience. But when you awaken, you make the quantum leap. You shift into a higher orbit. Pause and consider. What orbit have you been circling? Which pattern has kept you spinning in the same energy? Awareness is the moment you stop blaming the orbit and realize you are the particle with the power to absorb new energy and leap. This is why cycles intensify before they end. Energy builds, waiting for release. The same way a quantum particle vibrates at higher intensity before it jumps, your life experiences pressure before breakthrough. That pressure is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the sign that the leap is near. The beauty is this: the cycles are not meant to trap you. They are meant to awaken you. They exist so you can learn how to direct your energy consciously. Quantum mechanics shows us that observation itself changes the experiment. In your life, observation is awareness, and awareness is the turning point. Reflect now. Where in your life do you see repeating ripples? Which echoes keep returning? Once you identify the signal you are sending, you can begin to change it. The moment you do, the cycle dissolves, because the field has no choice but to mirror the new vibration. And so, the mechanics of cycles are not mysterious punishments. They are the science of energy in action. They are feedback loops written into the structure of existence, guiding you to the next level of awareness. This brings us directly to the most powerful principle in quantum science, the observer effect, where awareness itself is the key that shifts the outcome. This is where the observer effect enters and changes everything. In the world of quantum physics, one principle stands above all others as a doorway to understanding your life: the observer effect. Scientists discovered that particles behave differently depending on whether they are being observed. When no one watches, particles act like waves, possibilities spread across space. But the moment they are observed, those possibilities collapse into a single outcome. Awareness determines reality. Now pause and let that truth settle. If awareness can change the behavior of particles, what does your awareness do to the unfolding of your life? You are not a passive witness. You are an active shaper. When you observe, you influence. When you notice the pattern begins to change. This is why repeating lessons dissolve only when you finally see them. Awareness is not casual attention. It is focused, conscious recognition. It is the moment you stop saying, "Why does this always happen?" and begin saying, "I see what is happening, and I choose differently." Until that moment, the loop remains intact. Think about a dream. When you are inside it unaware, you feel trapped by its events, but the instant you realize you are dreaming, everything shifts. You can wake up. You can change the dream. Life works the same way. Awareness awakens you from the trance of repetition. Affirm this with me: when you see it, you shift it. Again, when you see it, you shift it. Let these words move through you, because they are the essence of transformation. The cycle ends the moment you truly see it for what it is. The observer effect is not only a scientific principle, it is a spiritual one. Mystics have said for centuries that what you bring your attention to becomes reality. Where focus goes, energy flows. Science now validates this ancient truth. Your awareness is the most powerful force in shaping your experience. Consider how many times you have been caught in emotional storms. Anger, fear, shame, they swept over you, pulling you into automatic reactions. But the moment you stepped back and noticed, "This is anger rising in me," you created space. That space is awareness, and in that space, you became free to respond instead of repeat. This is why meditation is so powerful. In meditation, you are practicing the art of observing without judgment. You learn to watch thoughts arise and pass, rather than being pulled into them. Over time, this skill translates into life itself. You stop being a victim of your patterns because you can see them as they arise. Your awareness is like light shining into a dark room. Before the light, you stumble in confusion, repeating the same mistakes. With the light, you finally see the obstacles for what they are. The obstacles may still be there, but now you can choose a new path around them. Have you noticed that the moment you truly acknowledge a repeating lesson, it loses its grip? That is because recognition collapses the wave of possibilities into a new outcome. The cycle cannot continue in the same way once it has been fully seen. Remember, you are both the experiment and the observer. You are the one living the pattern, and you are the one who can witness it. This dual role is not a contradiction. It is your power. The more consciously you witness your life, the more freedom you gain to shape it. Let me ask you now, what loop in your life have you been avoiding seeing? What repeating challenge do you keep pretending is random? Take a breath and allow it to surface in your awareness. That act alone begins the shift. Awareness does not erase the past, but it rewires the present. The moment you observe the pattern, you weaken its unconscious hold. The more you keep observing, the weaker the old program becomes. Eventually it dissolves, and you are left standing in the clarity of choice. This is not philosophy alone. Neuroscience shows that when you pay attention, new neural pathways begin to form, old habits weaken. Awareness literally reshapes your brain. So the observer effect is not only mystical, it is biological. Your brain is proof that awareness is transformation in action. The next time you feel stuck in a repeating lesson, pause. Become the observer. Name what is happening. Do not judge it. Simply see it. In that seeing, you plant the seed of freedom, because once you have seen, you cannot unsee. The cycle has already begun to unravel. Say it again with conviction. When you see it, you shift it. Hold that truth. It will carry you through every loop until the loop no longer holds you. But if awareness is the key, why does it sometimes feel like emotions drag us back into the old cycles, even after we notice them? Why do feelings of fear, anger, or sorrow pull us into repetition again? But why do emotions keep dragging us back into old loops? Every cycle you face is fueled not only by thought, but by emotion. Emotions are not abstract feelings drifting through your life. They are measurable energy moving through your body and radiating into the field around you. When an emotion is unresolved, it does not vanish. It stores itself inside you, repeating like an echo until it finds release. This is why emotions often feel like they drag you back into the same story, even when your mind has begun to see the pattern clearly. Think of emotion as energy in motion. If that energy is not expressed, it does not disappear. It recirculates. A fear you bury today will return tomorrow, disguised as hesitation, anxiety, or avoidance. An anger you suppress will reappear in new conflicts until you face the root. This is not weakness. This is simply the law of energy. What is not transformed is repeated. Notice how quickly unresolved emotions can resurface. You may meet someone new, yet they trigger the same feelings an old relationship did. The person is different, but the energy is the same. Or you may pursue a new opportunity, yet the same fear of failure blocks your path. These recurrences are not accidents. They are the loop of emotional energy, seeking awareness. Affirm this truth now. My emotions are energy, and I have the power to transform them. Say it again with presence. My emotions are energy, and I have the power to transform them. Every time you affirm this, you shift from being overwhelmed by emotion to becoming the conscious director of it. Science confirms this. Neuroscience shows that when you repeatedly feel the same emotion, your brain wires the pattern deeper. Stress circuits reinforce themselves. Anxiety grows familiar. Sadness becomes a groove in the mind. And because the brain seeks efficiency, it replays the same emotional pathways again and again. This is why it feels like your emotions run your life. They have become the path of least resistance. But here is the deeper spiritual side. Emotions are vibrational signals. Fear resonates at one frequency, joy at another. Anger, grief, peace, and love all vibrate differently. The universe, functioning as a field of resonance, mirrors these signals back to you. If you continue to carry unresolved fear, life will echo fear-inducing circumstances. If you hold unresolved grief, life will present moments that stir that grief again. The field is neutral. It simply reflects the energy you broadcast. Pause and reflect. Which emotion has been repeating in your life? Is it frustration that reappears in every relationship? Is it guilt that returns no matter how many times you try to move forward? Identify the one emotion that seems to anchor you in the same story. Awareness of it is the first step in transforming it. You cannot fight emotion into silence. Resistance only feeds it. What you resist persists, because resistance itself is energy, locking the emotion in place. Instead, you must observe, allow, and release. This is why practices like breathwork, journaling, or mindful presence are so powerful. They give emotion space to move, instead of forcing it to loop. Think of your body as a storage vessel. When emotion builds up without expression, it embeds in your muscles, your posture, your very chemistry. That stored energy becomes a magnet, pulling you into similar experiences until it is freed. This is why stress often manifests as tension, or grief as heaviness in the chest. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. But once you acknowledge and release, the loop breaks. An emotion fully felt is an emotion freed. When you allow yourself to truly sit with sadness, it dissolves into clarity. When you face fear directly, it transforms into courage. When you release anger, it becomes strength. The energy shifts, and the universe no longer needs to send the same mirror. Have you noticed that breakthroughs often come after emotional release? You cry, you breathe, you surrender, and suddenly, clarity arrives. That is not coincidence. That is the cycle ending. The energy has completed its loop. You are no longer bound by it. Affirm again. My emotions are energy, and I have the power to transform them. Let these words become your anchor. When emotion rises, every time you repeat them, you remind yourself that emotion is not an enemy, it is a messenger. And once you hear the messenger can rest. Consider this reflection. What emotion are you most afraid to feel? That fear of feeling is the very reason it repeats. Once you lean into it, it loses power. The loop ends where courage begins. So understand this clearly. Your repeating lessons are not only shaped by thought patterns, they are powered by emotional energy. Until you allow the energy to flow, the loop continues. But when you release it, you free yourself from the cycle, and life no longer needs to send the same mirror. And this truth does not belong only to mystics or philosophers. Modern neuroscience now confirms the same principle. The brain itself wires emotional repetition into your daily experience. Neuroscience confirms this same truth in the way the brain wires itself. Your mind is not just an abstract field of thoughts. It is a living network, built of neurons that fire, connect, and strengthen with use. Every thought, every reaction, every emotion leaves a physical imprint in your brain. This is why patterns in your life feel so difficult to break. They are not only habits of choice, they are also habits of biology. Neuroscience has revealed what is called neural plasticity. This means your brain is constantly reshaping itself. Neurons that fire together wire together. Each time you think the same thought or feel the same emotion, the brain reinforces that pathway, making it easier to repeat. If you often think, "I am not enough," your brain wires that loop deeper. If you often feel fear, your nervous system becomes quicker to react with fear. Over time, these loops become default modes. Think of a path through a forest. If you walk the same trail every day, the ground becomes worn, smooth, and easy to travel. If you try to walk a new path, it feels harder at first. Your brain works the same way. Old thought loops are well-traveled trails. New thought patterns feel uncomfortable until you repeat them enough times to carve a new path. This is why people fall into the same relationships, the same financial choices, the same self-sabotage. It is not simply bad luck. It is neural wiring. Your brain prefers the familiar, even when the familiar causes pain. It is efficient, but not always liberating. Consider how habits form. When you repeat an action, neurons strengthen their connection through a process called long-term potentiation. It is the brain's way of saying, "This matters." Unfortunately, your brain does not distinguish between helpful and harmful patterns. It reinforces whatever you repeat. This is why unresolved lessons return again and again. The brain has been trained to expect them. Ask yourself now, which thought pattern has been on repeat in your mind lately? Is it doubt? Is it fear of rejection? Is it resentment? That thought is not only psychological, it has become physical. It has wired itself into your brain. But here is the hope. Just as the brain wires itself into loops, it can also rewire itself into freedom. This is the power of awareness. The moment you notice a repeating pattern, you begin to weaken its automatic hold. By choosing a new thought, a new perspective, or a new response, you begin to fire different neurons. At first, the old loop feels stronger, but with repetition, the new pathway strengthens and the old one fades. Affirm this now. My brain is not fixed. My mind is rewiring with every choice I make. Again, my brain is not fixed. My mind is rewiring with every choice I make. Hold on to this truth, because it gives you the scientific foundation for transformation. Even memory itself plays a role in repetition. When you recall an event, your brain does not simply replay it like a recording. It reconstructs it, reinforcing the emotional charge attached to it. If you repeatedly recall past failure, your brain strengthens the failure loop. If you recall moments of courage and success, your brain strengthens the courage loop. Every memory rehearsal is brain training. This is why mindfulness and visualization are so powerful. When you visualize a new outcome, your brain begins to wire it as if it were already real. Athletes use this principle to train performance. You can use it to train your transformation. The brain does not know the difference between vividly imagined experience and actual lived experience. It wires both. Your neural patterns are like the software of your reality. If you do not update the code, you keep running the same program. But awareness, repetition, and conscious choice are the tools to rewrite that code. Science confirms what spirituality has always taught. Your inner state shapes your outer life. So the next time you notice a repeating cycle, remember, it is not only energy, it is not only emotion, it is also wiring, and wiring can change. You are not condemned to your past patterns. You are designed for adaptation. You are built for transformation. Pause and reflect. What program has been running your life unconsciously? Which loop has felt unbreakable? Acknowledge it now. The very act of noticing begins the rewiring process. Every time you bring awareness to the loop, you weaken its control. Every time you choose a new response, you carve a new trail. Your biology is proof that growth is possible. You are not stuck because the universe is cruel. You are stuck because your brain has been trained into repetition. But that same brain is plastic, flexible, alive. You can shape it with your choices. And once you see the science of neural loops, you are ready to see the deeper spiritual warning hidden behind repeated struggles. Because beyond the brain, the universe itself is speaking through your patterns. Now we see the science, but here comes the deeper spiritual warning. Every repeated struggle in your life is not only a matter of psychology or neuroscience, it is also a spiritual signal. The universe speaks in patterns. When you ignore the whisper, it speaks again in an echo. When you resist the echo, it grows louder, until finally the lesson becomes undeniable. The repetition is not punishment, it is warning. It is the sacred language of life saying, you are not listening yet. Think of how nature itself communicates. The seasons cycle to remind you of growth, decay, rest, and rebirth. The tides rise and fall to remind you of rhythm and flow, the same way your struggles cycle because they are carrying a message about your soul's evolution. If you face abandonment again and again, the warning may be to awaken self-love. If you repeat scarcity, the warning may be to embody trust and abundance. The loop is always a sign that a deeper truth is waiting to be seen. When you feel caught in the same suffering, pause and ask, what am I refusing to see? Every repetition is a messenger pointing at your blind spot. It is life's way of saying, here lies your next awakening. Without that awareness, you remain in the same orbit, circling the same lesson endlessly. Affirm this now. The universe speaks in patterns, and I am its listener. Say it again with conviction. The universe speaks in patterns, and I am its listener. These words anchor you into the truth that nothing in your life is meaningless. Even your struggles are sacred messages. Across traditions, this idea is echoed. Mystics say karma repeats until it is integrated. Teachers say life is a school, and the test will return until it is passed. The Bible speaks of wandering the wilderness until obedience is learned. All point to the same truth. You cannot outrun your lessons. You can only awaken to them. Have you noticed how your struggles often intensify when you avoid them? That is the universe amplifying the signal. If you ignore the lesson of self-worth, relationships become harsher until you are forced to see it. If you ignore the lesson of forgiveness, the pain grows sharper until you surrender to release. The repetition is the universe raising its voice. Do not mistake this as cruelty. It is compassion. Life refuses to let you remain blind. It insists on awakening you, even if it takes discomfort to break your trance. Struggles are the pressure of transformation. They are the chisel carving away what is false, until only the truth of who you are remains. Pause and reflect. What is the one area of your life that feels like it refuses to change? Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what is life trying to teach me here? That question alone transforms suffering into guidance. Spiritual wisdom teaches that your soul chose this path for growth. The loops are not random detours, they are the very curriculum of your evolution. Each repeated struggle is an invitation to rise into greater awareness, deeper love, and stronger alignment with your true self. When you embrace the warning as guidance, you step into empowerment. Imagine life as a river. If you resist the current, you are pulled under repeatedly. But if you learn to listen to its flow, you find the path that was guiding you all along. Repeated struggles are the river's way of steering you back toward your intended direction. This is why awakening is not about escaping pain, but decoding it. Pain is not the enemy, it is the signal. Every loop of suffering is life whispering, then shouting, then demanding that you see the truth. Once you listen, the suffering no longer needs to repeat. Affirm again, the universe speaks in patterns, and I am its listener. With each repetition of this truth, you train your mind to welcome struggle as message, not misfortune. This simple shift turns loops into teachers and warnings into wisdom. Think of your struggles as alarms. If you keep pressing snooze, the alarm rings again. If you wake up, the alarm no longer needs to sound. Repetition is the alarm of your soul. It will not stop until you awaken. So look at your life now. What alarms have been ringing? Which lessons have returned louder and louder? Do not turn away. Lean in. Listening is the beginning of liberation. Understand this: repeated struggles are not random suffering. They are intentional design. They are the universe's compassionate warning system, guiding you back into alignment with truth. When you finally honor the message, the repetition ends, and your life opens into a new chapter. But to arrive there, you must learn the skill of seeing, truly seeing, the pattern that has been circling you all along. Because once you see it, you cannot remain the same. But the crucial step is learning how to actually see the pattern. Awareness is the turning point. But awareness is not a passing thought. It is a deliberate act of truly seeing what has been hidden in plain sight. To see the pattern in your life is to remove the blindfold that has kept you circling the same story again and again. And once you see, you cannot unsee. The cycle begins to unravel. Seeing the pattern starts with honesty. You must be willing to admit that the same challenge has been repeating under different disguises. A new relationship feels strangely familiar. A new opportunity collapses in the same way as the last. A new goal ends in the same frustration. You might have told yourself, this time it is different. But when the core emotion is the same, the pattern has returned. Pause here. Ask yourself directly, what happens if today you pause and trace your repeating story back to its root? Do not brush it aside. Allow yourself to feel the thread connecting each repetition. That thread is the pattern waiting for your awareness. Practical tools make this process clearer. Journaling reveals what the mind tries to conceal. When you write about your repeating experiences, similarities appear on the page. What seemed random begins to look like design. Mindfulness works the same way. By observing your thoughts without judgment, you notice which ones recycle day after day. Self-inquiry deepens this, asking what is the belief beneath this, or what emotion keeps showing up here, uncovers the seed of the loop. The truth is simple but profound. The pattern exists because part of you has not yet integrated its lesson. Once you see it, the energy begins to shift. Imagine shining light into a dark room. The objects were always there, but now you cannot ignore them. Seeing gives you choice. Affirm this now. I choose to see clearly. Again, I choose to see clearly. Repeat it once more with conviction. I choose to see clearly. Every repetition strengthens your inner permission to face the truth directly. Notice how your body reacts when you finally acknowledge a repeating pattern. You may feel resistance, as if part of you wants to deny it. That resistance is natural. It is the ego's way of protecting its familiar story. But if you breathe through the discomfort, you will see more clearly. The discomfort is proof that you are touching the core. Consider how people describe déjà vu, the sense of having lived a moment before. In truth, many lives feel like déjà vu because the same lessons recycle until noticed. Once you recognize this, you begin to see your own déjà vu not as mystery, but as a signal. Reflection is powerful here. Ask yourself what relationship feels like a mirror of the last, what struggle feels identical despite new circumstances, which fear keeps finding a way to surface in different forms. Answering these questions lifts the veil. Seeing is not the same as judging. Do not condemn yourself for repeating. Instead, celebrate the moment of clarity. Life repeats not to punish you but to wake you. Seeing means the alarm has worked. You are finally awake. The moment you see the pattern, you create space. In that space you can respond differently. A fight that once consumed you can now be met with calm. A disappointment that once broke you can now be understood as guidance. A fear that once paralyzed you can now be faced with courage. The loop weakens because awareness dissolves its unconscious grip. Affirm again, I choose to see clearly. Let it echo through you. With each repetition, your awareness sharpens, and the loop begins to lose its hold. Now imagine this. You are standing at the edge of your old story, holding the thread of the pattern in your hands. You trace it back to its source, perhaps childhood, perhaps a defining moment, perhaps an unspoken belief. For the first time you see it clearly. In that instant, you are no longer bound by it. You are the witness. You are the observer. You are free to choose differently. This is liberation. Not escape, but clarity. Seeing the pattern breaks the spell of repetition. The story may try to replay, but you are no longer hypnotized by it. You know what it is, and knowing gives you choice. So the essential step is not to fight the pattern, not to deny it, not to run from it. The essential step is to see it fully, because once you see, the loop no longer owns you. You own the loop. Awareness is the first step, but awareness alone is not enough. To end the cycle, you must act. You must make a conscious choice that rewrites the loop forever. Awareness is step one, but choice is step two. And that is how you break free. Awareness reveals the pattern, but choice dissolves it. Until you act differently, the loop continues. Seeing the lesson gives you the key, but turning that key requires a conscious decision. This is where transformation moves from theory into reality. Every cycle in your life has been sustained by unconscious choices. You may not have realized it, but each reaction, each belief you repeated, was a choice reinforcing the loop. Choosing to stay silent instead of speaking truth. Choosing to retreat into fear instead of moving forward in courage. Choosing to accept less instead of standing in worthiness. These choices may have felt automatic, but they were still choices. Now you are being called to choose consciously. This means pausing when the old pattern appears and asking what choice breaks this loop. At first, this pause feels difficult. The old program pulls hard, but the moment you insert awareness, you create space for something new. Affirm this truth. Each choice I make is a signal to the field. Again, each choice I make is a signal to the field. Repeat it once more. Each choice I make is a signal to the field. Let these words remind you that choice is not small. Every choice carries energy. Every choice broadcasts to reality. Consider how this works scientifically. When you repeat an action, neurons in your brain strengthen their connection. But when you choose a new response, you fire different neurons. The more you repeat the new response, the stronger that pathway becomes. Conscious choice rewires your biology. It is not just mystical, it is measurable. Spiritually, conscious choice is alignment. It is saying to the universe, I no longer need the lesson in this form, because I have learned it. When you choose differently, the energy shifts. The loop no longer has fuel. The pattern dissolves because it has served its purpose. Think of someone who has repeated toxic relationships for years. The moment they choose self-respect over desperation, the loop cracks. Or think of someone trapped in financial scarcity. The moment they choose trust and consistent discipline over fear, the loop begins to dissolve. It is the choice, not the circumstances, that breaks the cycle. Pause and reflect. What choice do you need to make right now to break your loop? Is it the choice to forgive, to speak truth, to step away, to finally believe in your worth? Name it. Your naming is the first act of choice. You may feel fear arise here. The old program whispers, stay the same. It is safer, but safety is illusion. Repetition may feel familiar, but it robs you of growth. Conscious choice requires courage, and courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting in alignment despite fear. Remember this, every great transformation in history was born of a single conscious choice, a choice to say yes when fear said no, a choice to rise when everything urged collapse, a choice to believe when evidence argued against it. You have that same power within you now. Imagine standing before the familiar loop, the same conflict, the same fear, the same disappointment waiting to replay, but this time, instead of stepping into it unconsciously, you pause, you breathe, you choose differently. That small shift changes the entire timeline of your life. Affirm once more, each choice I make is a signal to the field. These words are not metaphor. They are reality. Your choice changes your energy, and your energy reshapes what life mirrors back. This is why choice is sacred. It is not only about what you decide in the moment, it is about who you declare yourself to be. When you choose consciously, you say, I am no longer the person bound by this loop. I am the person creating a new path. Choice is identity, and identity shapes destiny. So ask yourself, who do I become when I choose differently? Hold that question. Let it open inside you. The answer will guide your next action. Understand this. The loop is not broken by force. It is broken by choice. Each new decision sends a ripple into the field, declaring that the lesson is complete. And once the lesson is complete, reality aligns to a new pattern. Awareness gave you the key. Choice turns it. And with each turn, the door to your new path opens wider. But to fully anchor this shift, you must embody practices that reinforce your new vibration daily. Now let us anchor this shift with quantum practices you can use daily. Choice is the first crack in the cycle, but practice is what makes the break permanent. If you want to dissolve repetition and create a new reality, you must train your energy to match the life you are calling in. This is where quantum practices become your tools, daily rituals that shift your frequency, rewire your brain, and broadcast a new signal into the field. The first practice is visualization. Visualization is not daydreaming. It is deliberate energetic alignment. When you vividly imagine yourself already living in the reality you desire, your brain fires as if it is happening in the present. Neural pathways form, emotions awaken, and your energy shifts into coherence. In the quantum field, that coherence is a magnet. It draws experiences that mirror the vision you hold. Each morning, take time to see yourself already free of the loop. Feel the relief, the joy, the power of it. The more vividly you hold the vision, the stronger the signal becomes. The second practice is frequency alignment through emotion. Science has shown that elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, and love alter your body's chemistry and your heart's electromagnetic field. These emotions create resonance that the universe reflects back. Begin by choosing gratitude as your anchor. Each day, list what you are thankful for, no matter how small. Gratitude shifts your frequency from lack to abundance, from fear to trust. And as the frequency shifts, the loops built on fear begin to dissolve. The third practice is meditation. Meditation is the training ground of awareness. By sitting still and observing your thoughts, you weaken the grip of old programs. You realize that you are not your thoughts, you are the observer. From this place, you can choose differently. Even 10 minutes of daily meditation begins to rewire the brain, lowering stress responses and strengthening neural pathways of calm and clarity. The fourth practice is affirmation. Words carry vibration. When you repeat affirmations with presence, you are broadcasting new instructions to your mind and to the field. Choose affirmations that declare the end of repetition and the birth of new reality. Say, I am free from old loops. Say, I create new patterns aligned with truth. Say, each choice I make reshapes my destiny. Repeat them often. Repetition builds the new groove until it becomes your natural state. The fifth practice is conscious action. Visualization, meditation, and affirmation are powerful, but they must be anchored in behavior. Each day, take one action that reflects the new pattern. If you have been looping in scarcity, give generously, even in small ways. If you have been looping in fear, take one step toward what you avoided. Action proves to the universe that your energy has shifted. Pause here and reflect. Which of these practices calls to you most right now? Is it visualization, meditation, affirmation, or action? Choose one and begin today. Do not wait for perfection. The power lies in consistency. Affirm this truth. My daily practice is my new frequency. Again, my daily practice is my new frequency. Repeat it once more. My daily practice is my new frequency. Let these words anchor your commitment. Understand this: repetition built the old loop, and repetition will build the new one. Just as your brain wired old habits through practice, it will wire new habits through practice. Just as the field echoed your old frequency through repetition, it will echo your new one when you sustain it. You are not only breaking a cycle, you are creating a new one of freedom, clarity, and alignment. If this resonates with you, share your experience. Speak your affirmation aloud. Write your commitment in the comments. Declare it publicly so your energy expands into the collective field. You are not alone in this shift. Countless others are awakening to the same truth. Your practice adds to the wave. Imagine the difference these practices will make over time. Weeks of visualization plant seeds of possibility. Months of gratitude shift your frequency permanently. Daily meditation retrains your brain to calm awareness. Affirmations rebuild your identity. Conscious action proves to reality that you are no longer the same. Together, these practices dissolve the old loop and anchor you in a new path. So hold this clearly. You are not powerless to repetition. You are rewiring your brain, your energy, and your life with each practice. Each day you commit, the old cycle weakens. Each day you return, the new cycle strengthens. Consistency is power. Affirm again. My daily practice is my new frequency. Feel the certainty of it, because as these practices integrate, the loop dissolves and a new timeline opens before you. As these practices integrate, the loop dissolves and a new path emerges. When the cycle finally dissolves, a new path reveals itself. It is not only the absence of the old loop, but the presence of a higher timeline. Freedom is not empty space. Freedom is possibility. And when you end the repetition, you step into a version of life that has been waiting for you all along. Imagine waking up one morning without the weight of the same repeating challenge. The relationship patterns are gone. The financial struggle has shifted. The inner voice of fear has grown quiet. Instead, you feel clarity. You feel openness. You feel as if the world has expanded around you. This is what happens when the loop ends. Life no longer mirrors your unhealed energy. It reflects your awakened state. The new path is not about perfection. Struggles may still come, but they no longer come in circles. They come as steps upward. Each challenge becomes a ladder rather than a trap. You climb, you grow, you expand. This is the spiral of evolution replacing the circle of repetition. Affirm this. I rise on the spiral of growth. Again, I rise on the spiral of growth. Once more, I rise on the spiral of growth. Feel how these words lift you. The spiral means you may see echoes of the old lesson, but you meet them from higher ground. You are no longer repeating. You are ascending. Science supports this shift. Neuroscience shows that when new pathways are established and practiced, the brain literally changes its structure. Old wiring fades, and new wiring strengthens. Spiritually, this is alignment with a higher frequency. The field no longer needs to send the same lessons, because the energy has shifted. You have integrated the truth, and reality responds accordingly. On this new path, your choices feel lighter. Decisions come from clarity rather than fear. You attract relationships that mirror your worth because you now embody it. You experience opportunities that align with your purpose because your frequency is clear. Life opens where it once closed. The universe says yes where it once sent echoes of not yet. Pause and reflect. Who will you become when the old story is no longer yours? Visualize that version of yourself. See the way they walk, speak, and decide. Feel the confidence, the peace, the strength in their presence. That version of you is not far away. It is already within you, waiting for the loops to end so it can rise. Your new path is not about escaping who you were. It is about integrating who you are. The lessons you repeated have shaped you into someone deeper, wiser, stronger. Nothing was wasted. Every cycle prepared you for this chapter. The pain was not meaningless. It was the soil of your awakening. Affirm this again. I rise on the spiral of growth. With every repetition, you remind yourself that freedom is not abstract. It is lived, it is chosen, it is embodied. This new path also brings responsibility. Once you break the loop, you cannot unknow the truth. You are called to live with greater awareness. You are called to choose with greater intention. You are called to guide others who are still circling their loops. Freedom is not only for you, it is for the collective. When one awakens, the field shifts for all. Imagine yourself meeting someone who is trapped in the very loop you escaped. You will see their struggle with compassion because you recognize it. And from your clarity, you can guide them. You can say, I know this path. I walked it, and I found a way through. Your new path becomes a light for others. Pause here. Feel gratitude for the loops that once confined you. They are the very reason you can now walk freely. Gratitude transforms the past into fuel. Instead of resenting the cycles, you honor them as the training ground of your awakening. Life after the loop is not about avoiding challenges. It is about meeting them as opportunities for expansion. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and you start asking, "How is this shaping me?" That question keeps you rising, keeps you growing, keeps you aligned with the spiral of evolution. Affirm one final time, "I rise on the spiral of growth." These words seal your commitment to the new path. You are no longer bound by the circle. You are guided by the spiral. You are free to create a life aligned with truth, clarity, and power. And now you are ready for the final awakening, the invitation to step fully into your new identity and align with the greater call of your soul. This brings us to the final awakening and the invitation for your next step. You have walked through the circle of repetition, and now you stand at the edge of awakening. Every cycle you endured was not wasted. Each one prepared you for this moment. The struggles were not random. They were the universe's way of shaping you, calling you, urging you to see what you had missed before. And now you are awake enough to notice. This is the essence of the quantum warning. Life will loop until you learn. But once you learn, the loop no longer binds you. You are free to walk a higher path. This freedom is not theoretical. It is lived in the choices you make, the awareness you embody, the energy you project. Pause and breathe. Feel what it means to no longer carry the same repeating lesson. Imagine the space it leaves inside you. Imagine the clarity it brings. Imagine the power of knowing you are no longer circling but rising. That power is yours now. Affirm this with me. You are no longer looping. You are evolving. Again, you are no longer looping. You are evolving. Let these words seal the truth into your identity. They are not simply affirmations. They are declarations of your new self. Your awakening is not only personal, it is collective. Every time you dissolve a loop, you release energy into the field that makes it easier for others to do the same. Your freedom becomes their signal. Your evolution becomes their permission. By choosing awareness, you join the wave of consciousness rising across the planet. And this is where the call becomes clear. Do not keep this awakening to yourself. Share it. Speak it. Live it openly. Someone else is circling the same loop you just ended, and your story may be the key that awakens them. If this journey has resonated with you, take a step now. Like this message, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you remain connected to the practices and insights that will continue to guide you. Every click is not only engagement, it is commitment. It is your way of saying, "I choose to stay awake. I choose to walk the higher path." And I invite you now, join the conversation. What loop have you ended? What pattern are you ready to dissolve? Speak it in the comments. Your voice may be the spark that awakens someone else. Remember this truth as you leave. The signal has always been there. Life was never against you. It was guiding you, repeating, until you could finally see. And now that you see, the repetition is over. A new timeline begins. You are no longer looping. You are evolving. You are rising. You are free. End with this knowing. The hidden signal that once kept you circling has now become the light that guides you forward.